Welcome to the Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week preview show presented by Mercy, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Missouri Valley Conference. With head coach Ben McCollum of the Drake Bulldogs, I'm Harry Schroeder. And Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at your local Gray Media station on Matrix Midwest here in St. Louis, the Bulldogs will be taking on the Illinois State Redbirds. And Ben, thanks for joining us today. 10 in a row, 22 and 2, 12 and 2. Are you tired about talking about how successful your team is?
No, I mean you don't really get tired of it necessarily. We don't talk about it a ton. So no, we're good. I think you just got to keep getting better, and that's what allows you to continue your success and not get enamored with past results and just kind of stick with that process.
Uh, does there ever become winning streak pressure? Is that a thing?
I mean, maybe for some. I don't know. For me, I don't even pay attention, I guess. That's, half the time I don't even know our record. And so I've always been a big believer in making sure that you don't get distracted by some of those things
Hmm.
and just really try to get better every day. That's the journey is the fun, the work is the win, as they say, the quote from, what is it? Ego is the enemy. Making sure that you continue to enjoy the work, and that's the win. And whether or not you win or lose, you don't really have a lot of control over. But the second you try to control that, and the second you start to worry about that too much, is the second you can't win anymore.
Hmm. Talk about your game against Indiana State over the weekend. One of the higher scoring games you guys have been in a while, and just talk about that game. How you guys were able to pull it out late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought first off, I thought early on, I thought we had pretty good control, and then I thought a couple of their kids, really fought and did a great job and made it difficult on us. I thought it was probably, from a scout execution standpoint, probably uh, might have been our worst performance of the year. I didn't think we were great there, but again, they had a lot to do with that. And I thought their shot selection was even better than we had seen on film. And then defensively, they did a good job of competing and fighting. So a lot of it had to do with them, but we need to be better in regards to executing our scout and understanding some of those things. But we were able to pull it out, which is good. We do have to understand that just because you win the game doesn't mean that you played great, and kind of keep with that process that we talked about earlier.
Other people, I'm sure, have talked to you about this. I have not. The shirt and tie is like, obviously, I saw pictures from the game afterwards. People are starting to show up in the games dressed like Ben McCollum. Uh, why the shirt and the tie in a day when most coaches are wearing the quarter zips or the warm-ups?
Yeah, so I've always worn a shirt and a tie. It was always a different color, and I got tired of selecting the shirt that I was going to wear. So then I just stuck with white and obviously wore the school colors. The reason I wear a shirt and tie is my theory is there's a lot of professions where you have to go in and you have to look professional, and it helps you feel like a pro, essentially. And a lot of coaches, make a lot of money, and a lot more money than and a lot more visible, and a lot more money than people that have to dress appropriately every single day. So that's why I do it. I'm not against somebody wearing whatever they want to wear. I don't, it's just personal to me that, my parents work pretty hard, and my mom's a judge, and she had to dress up every day. And my stepdad was, an ARC, DCI and whatever. And so he had to dress up every day. And so that's just always been my theory.
Well, and I noticed you lose it pretty quickly. I see some of those interviews post game with Michael, and man, you're back in a warm up or a t-shirt.
As quickly as possible. I need to get one of those t-shirts so that I don't even have to wear a tie, right? It just looks
That's
like
right.
I've got one.
Exactly. People have been, paying attention to your team, and everybody knows about Bennett, and he's getting a lot of accolades, which he should. Talk a little bit though about Daniel and about Banks. I just think Abreu's been very good all year long and done a lot of things, but it seems like Banks is kind of emerging at the right kind of time as well for you guys. But talk about those two players.
Yeah, I mean, Daniels, when we came in, he was the guy that got everybody going. I think that he's an everyday guy. He's got great energy. He understands our system, and obviously, he's hitting shots and whatnot. I think it started back up against Illinois State. I think out in Charleston, he was fantastic, hit a bunch of shots, kind of tried to duplicate that for a little time, went away from who he was for just a split second, then kind of came back. But just from being able to handle me, if I need to yell at somebody else, I'll just yell at him. And so then it's just, okay, coach, whatever, which is great for me. And then he's just like, when you walk into practice, he's always going to be in a good mood and he's always going to be ready. I think Tavion gives us one of our highest ceilings because of his length, because of his athleticism, because of his versatility defensively and offensively. He can guard so many different positions. He's really bought into being an elite screener. Him and Isaiah Howard give us an edge that we definitely need. And when Tavion is tuned in at the level that he can be at, he takes us to a whole nother deal. And so both of those two have been super impactful. Your whole team has to allow Bennett to be good. Like that, that's a big deal. And you see it a lot. Like you see other teams that may have really talented players, but then there's another talented player that's like, well, I want to be Bennett too, and I want to be Bennett too, and I want to be Bennett too. And it's like, okay, well, not everybody can do those things. And so our guys allow him to be good too. Like and Bennett would be the first to tell you that. Obviously, he's elitely talented, high level player. But just his humility allows people to allow him to be great.
You played them early. I think maybe the first game of the conference season, beat them pretty easily. What do you think about them now versus what did you think about them then, if you've had a chance to really dig into the Redbirds?
Well, I think they're really good. I mean, obviously they've got a paint threat. Probably one of the best scoring big guys. If it's not just the Missouri Valley Division I. I mean, he's elite down there. And then they've got a lot of shooting. I think they lead the conference maybe in 3-point field goal percentage or second. And they shoot a lot of them. And obviously at home they're considerably better as well. So they're good. They're well coached. They've got good energy. It'll be one of the tougher games that we've had in quite some time.
Yeah, talk about how you defend that big guy. You guys, while you play elite defense, you're not very big yourself. How do you defend the post against them? You never tell me the game plan. Never.
I never tell you the game plan. I'll tell you afterwards. No, he's a load. It's not one of those things that you can't really just have one way to guard him because he's so good down there. And they do such a good job of getting them the ball. So, you just have to throw different things at him and see which one works, and then hope that he misses a few shots.
And that will evolve throughout a game, won't it? Sometimes, I mean, you have a plan and it's working, and then it doesn't, or it doesn't work right away, and you have to shift midstream, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest thing is one, we have to be better than we were last game from a scout execution standpoint, and especially when you go on the road. We were fortunate enough to be at home. If that game was on the road at Indiana State, they win that game. So when you face a big guy like this, you just have to be tuned into everything else as well. Like you can't just focus solely on him. It has to be making sure that you stop their whole team, because his gravity creates so many different problems that you just don't even realize. And we need to make sure that we take care of all of it.
Johnny Kinziger is having a terrific sophomore season. Just talk about what makes him so good, and maybe you're not going to tell me how you're going to defend him, but just the kinds of things that he does that helps them go.
Yeah, he shoots it at a high level, and he can get downhill enough to keep you honest. And so, he gets to his spots consistently. He can shoot on the move. He's got good athleticism, and he gives them that, I don't know if it's primary or secondary, it depends on the way you look at it, score, where you got to really put your attention on him in the perimeter. And then the other guys, again, allow those two to kind of be the guys, and then they score off of that. And so they're a really well coached team, and very unselfish, and we're gonna have our hands full.
It's 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. Appreciate your time, Ben. Our Wednesday night coverage begins at 8 p.m. Central. And for information on where you can watch the game, head to mvc-sports.com. For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Harry Schroeder.